Okay, it's Friday, September 23rd. This is an end of the day and also an end of the week SPY recap video. We will kind of go over today's price action on this red bar, how it unfolded, and we'll kind of take a look at the bigger picture, a broader picture, some of the time frames to see what's developing on those charts, what some of the key levels are, and kind of, still what to expect and what to look for. In kind of a what-if scenario in many cases. So today, obviously, big red bar again to the downside. You did kind of at the very end of the day have a little bit of squaring up, so it looks like you get that hammer look at the end of the day, but it's still a two-down bar. In terms of the actual trading, it was very easy looking at the pre-market range, the first move going down below it to kind of stay short, and definitely directionally went short all day long. And again, after such exhaustion, to the downside, it's not surprising at all. You'd get a little bit of a rally at some point. And again, even in the days ahead, you could clearly get some two-up days developing here for short-term trading to the upside, as long as you kind of follow what the pre-market range here is and the opening price action. In terms of targeting, let's say we get a two-up day, heading into Monday. That would be the next target, this yellow line up here. But keep if you look at the chart, the way it's kind of folding, there's a lot of gaps on the way down. So this is also, between the high of this bar and the low of this bar, this is kind of a fair value gap in here, where if you do get a two up, you might be resisting in that area and then coming down. As opposed to some other kind of looks. That's why you really want to study these charts. When you have a move like this coming down, the pivots are nice and clean, like four in a row. When you get the two up, then it's it's a pivot machine gun to take out all those highs one after the other after the other. Same thing here on the way down. You can look at all these pivots, very neat on the way up, and then when you break down, you take them all out. And I'll show you on the quarterly chart in a second what's developing there, because that's, I think, the key bigger picture time frame to be focusing on at the moment in terms of expectations. But anyway, we're still going to watch. If we get a two-up bar, we'll still look for targets up there, and we'll see how intraday price action, the structure plays out, and we'll know that if we don't get there, that could be good opportunities to head lower. Because still on the weekly chart, the key thing this week is we came down as anticipated and hit all those targets down here. I still see one more down here at these lows, so even it's a kind of a reddish bar. We should follow through a little lower at some point next week, and this is close enough to expect to take it out, but we'll see what happens. Any up opening that starts is going to be inside, bar at the moment, and we'll have to just see, if it's a rally, if we get any kind of strength that kind of heads up to this target, it could be, heading up to the upper part of this range temporarily, and that might be a consolidation week, and we might not get the move. So we're going to find that out day by day. In terms of, like I said, the bigger picture, as I look at the monthly chart here, let me go to that because I was focusing on that all week. In terms of, we reached our target to the downside. I've been focusing on this green bar, failing to the upside, two down on the monthly chart. We go to the bottom of that bar. Again, this low here a few months ago is definitely close enough where we should take that out as well, but we'll see what happens. Our targets have been reached, so there is a little bit of exhaustion risk, at least temporarily. But as I was saying here, just to finish up, I was looking at the yearly and quarterly charts, and what I see here on the quarterly chart, we're coming to the end of September. This looks like we're going to end up with a momentum, unless we get some major rally in the next week, we're going to end up with something like a momentum shooter kind of bar, and that means you kind of should expect to go lower into the October, November, December time period. And if you look at the chart, there's your pivot machine gun on the downside, or at least a few more targets to this area, which is down near 3,050 or something like that. So let's see, maybe the end of the year, once we go down here into October, we'll see how the month October starts, but we could definitely be taking that out. And that's why I'm still kind of at the moment, until things reverse, I'm going to anticipate that things are going to develop here on the week, even if we pause here after taking out some targets, and even if the daily chart has a little exhaustion risk as a head up, I'm going to still look for this downside action and it's going to take a long time. Let's go back to the daily for things to really change and move up and get that weekly chart turning up, and possibly, we'll see what happens on the quarterly chart. But in terms of the chain reaction here, it seems like things are still going to be heading lower, and especially if this bar closes weak by the end of September, then expect some lower action. And finally, on the yearly chart, just really keeping an eye on it, we already have a three bar to the downside on the yearly chart, so that's broadening action on the year. We still have 3 months to go. Let's say we head down here in the final quarter, down to that month. That's going to be kind of a big three bar to the downside. To me, that would mean we could start next year kind of following through. If we close red, you'd follow through a little lower, and then you're going to have to get a 3 kind of 2 down, 2 up reversal. And again, I'm talking about 2024 before you'd really, or you'd have to get some kind of big reversal that comes to the midpoint of the prior, of this year, starting in 2023. So keep in mind, if that quarterly plays out, we're going to have a big green, red bar here and a 3 bar, which should have a little follow through to the downside early into next year. And then we're going to have to see, is it going to take all year to get a 2 down and maybe a 2 up, and before we can finally feel comfortable with the big picture of this market? Or is it going to be a quick, take out the low of whatever this year is and start up, and at some point hit the midway point of 2022, and then we can feel like we're really finally heading up again to take out those highs. So that's big picture stuff, so let's not worry about it. But again, kind of an easy week in terms of expecting downside action. And, there were a whole bunch of days here, as I was discussing on the recap. Really, to me, yesterday was the easiest day, and today was the easiest day. There was a lot of, even though it looks easy on the chart here that we went down, we were waiting for Fed decisions, so these Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday was a little tricky in terms of, getting the downside follow through. But we were kind of always expecting this to happen. So anyway, that's it. Let's keep an eye on, next week, the choppiness. I'll see how things start out pre-market, and then kind of start basing some expectations from there going, for the week and for the, to end the quarter.